One. I'll just mute you again there later because there's a bit of background noise there. Hi there. We are in the Master Fowler Scrum. It's Sam and Patrick and newcomer Lisa. Welcome to Lisa. Um, yeah, so let's get into it. What have I been doing? Yesterday, pairing with Michael on website 1, we made some good progress refactoring for the Karma out of the user table into its own table. Yeah, upgrading to Ruby 2.31, getting a few things done. That was, yeah, pleasing progress. This morning, yeah, I've been trying out a new cloud hosting solution. It's my friend of mine is working on, which might be an alternative to Heroku going forward. We haven't been particularly responsive in terms of the costs we're incurring there. Yeah, but so, yeah, that's about the size of it for me. How about for you, Pat?
You mentioned new cloud hosting service. Is it in beta or alpha or what's the status of it?
They seem to have, it's a thing based here in the UK, and they're particularly focused on the high end of the market and like high security, and like they want to do stuff for banks, and I mean they are doing stuff for these high end clients, and but I think they're also interested in making a free tier available. So I'm just talking with them about that, and I just deployed their demo app, and yeah, I mean, potentially we could work out a very convenient sponsorship thing, maybe. I mean, particularly as the Heroku fees go up, if we can work out something that would allow us to keep those costs down, then that could be very, very useful. I'll keep you updated as we move forward.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. Thanks for that. So for me, I did the typical review of some PRs. I created stories from some from the UX review that you did.
Mm-hmm.
We're not completely reviewing that, and some from other sources. I put more detail into the download resume story that Laura will be working on or is working on,
Mm-hmm.
so that she knows where to go. As you know, it's kind of difficult to jump into a project and find out all the places you have to touch.
Sure.
And I've been working on testing out the sandbox for the cruncher, and we've encountered a lot of bugs that Hugh has been fixing. And as of 10:40 last night, my time, he said that we should be good to go. So I'll check it out this morning. That's important because we have some stories queued up for matching functionality, given a resume, get some jobs back, and vice versa, that I don't want to vote on or have anybody work on until we have a sandbox ready. And I'm right now trying to debug feature branch that Sonia's got underway, which is rejecting a job application, and there's some problems with respect to merging with the main branch and acceptance test all break, etc. So I'll be spending time on that today. And that's about it.
All right.
That's it for me.
Good update on the Met Plus project. Let's just check in. So, Lisa, I muted you earlier, so just because of the background noise. Are you? Yeah, your first. I'm trying to unmute you. Maybe I don't know if you want me to do that yourself. How are things with you? Oh, sorry. I think we've probably ended up muting and remuting each other. My apologies. We've lost Lisa. Oh well. Well, maybe we'll see them again. I should have perhaps done it in the chat. It's easy to end up being heavy-handed with these things. Yeah, well, that's cool. But the other thing was that the day before last, I kind of started spiking a little async voting app. And Joao tells me that he's also working on something similar. So I was like, oh, hey, we should collaborate on that. So I'm keen to coordinate with him on that. But he was saying to me, I was checking with him, he was saying something along the lines of he's feeling that the MVP for Met Plus is kind of becoming in sight now. Like the last meeting with Chet seemed to kind of maybe didn't create, well, does the end seem to be in sight? How's it looking from your point of view?
Yeah, definitely. We've got our final MVP feature list set. It's expanded as we discover holes, etc. Our must-haves. But generally, we're in pretty good shape. The last round of big feature extensions will be the matching capability, which is really kind of a marquee feature because that's where we're doing textual classification to match job to resume. Hopefully that works. As you know, we're using a naive Bayes algorithm.
Right,
and
right.
it's brand new. We haven't really tested it out, and we can't get. One of the problems we have right now is we can't get data
Mm,
to actually for the classifier to work on. We have a bunch of job descriptions that he was scraped from job sites like Indeed and Beyond and those guys.
mm-hmm.
But we don't. We need a batch. We need a corpus or a batch of resumes so that we can train the system on those
Mm,
and allow the system to, in turn, classify resumes and then match against classified jobs. But we
right.
don't have enough resumes at this point. We probably got 2 or 3 in there. I know that example resume site that you posted, I think, one time, a couple sessions ago.
Mm,
I've looked at that too. We'd have to extract those and put them in some kind of Word or PDF format. Maybe we have to do that. Actually, I've requested that Hewitt talk to Chet, the client,
mm,
see if we can get some resumes from him, because it's what he does for a living.
right.
Of course, yeah. So I think that might be our best approach at this point.
I mean,
If
I
you can
get
give us 40, 50, 100 resumes, we might be in good shape.
right. And so what you're saying there is that um, your that's in order to check if the cruncher will do the matching effectively or not. You need some data set to run it on to see if it works or not.
Exactly. And if it worked and we had production data that was classified and we could do the matching, we wouldn't need the sandbox because we'd have data we could develop against. But right now, we can put resumes in there, we could put jobs in there, but we don't get any matching results coming back.
Right. I would have thought well, not that I would want to put you off the sandbox, but the other trick would be to just, for the purposes of testing, make it return all matches in the first instance. Right? Like the sandbox should have settings of like how, not the sandbox, sorry, the actual cruncher itself would have settings of like, how, like there's always going to be degrees of match. Like this match is 0 and this match is 100%. So what's the cutoff? So for the purposes of testing, just so it was getting something back, you could adjust it so that it just returns the entire, so like when you post a job, if there's only 10 resumes in the cruncher, right, you could just have it so it was on the maximum threshold setting. And so when you post a job to it, it returns you all 10 resumes and vice versa.
Well, we've got some, I wrote an API for the sandbox that basically does something very simple.
Okay, yeah.
Just like you said. So for the first 10 resumes, it returns 10 matches, 10 job matches, and it varies on the ratings.
Yeah.
Between 1 point something to 5.0. And similarly for jobs. And then every 5th resume, we find 0 match. And beyond the first 10, ID 10 resumes, we will match against 5 jobs. And similarly with the reverse for a job matching its resume. So there's a little variability there. I didn't want everything to match against the 10 same jobs or 10 same resumes. There's a little variability.
Sure.
The IDs that we match against vary based upon the starting ID of the matchee, if you will.
Yeah, no, that's not.
So
yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's all working now. Actually, it's the production stuff that started to break on me yesterday.
Yeah, if you've got that, that's all good. But so I mean, so there's still a sort of a set of things to work on to the MVP. Hopefully, Chet in subsequent meetings will not try and add more things to that. I guess you've kind of got an agreement with him saying, look, this is the set of things, and we're not going to, expand on that. And I guess what I'd love to see you guys being able to do is get to the point where, so is Chet, is he playing with a deployed instance of the system, or is
he's not? He's not. So we've asked him to go in there and maybe execute some of those demos that you tried to do before, but I don't think he's spending any time on that.
Right.
He's basically indicated that he wants the MVP to give him business value as opposed to just testing for us. And I understand that he's a busy guy. So that's what we need to do.
Right.
Give him something that will actually make his job easier, hopefully.
Sure. But what he said, so what he's saying is that he can't give you any time just exploring the system and giving you feedback before it's actually ready to go live.
He hasn't explicitly said that, but he hasn't gone in there and played with it, even though he's got login credentials.
Right. Okay.
So we've encouraged him to do that once in a while, but
yeah, no. If he has a time where he's not inclined to do so, then there's I guess that ultimately that's the golden thing. What my fear is related to is that having done huge amounts of work on your part and all of the volunteers and so on, is that at the point when he actually logs into the system, it ends up doing something very different from what he expects, and that
Exactly.
the fear in some ways.
Oh, absolutely. I share that fear. Shared that fear for a long time.
Mm.
I'm afraid we've built a lot of great technology, and we've all learned a lot, but it's just a pile of stuff that doesn't work for him. So
Well,
he can't get there fast enough.
we it may be on the cusp of being exactly what he needs, or it may be that much further away. And that's yeah. I mean, there's this thing about the whole incremental approach and so on and so forth. Anyway, okay, but it's great that he's agreeing on kind of that the MVP needs to be brought to a close and he needs to get something into production. And you know, I guess he understands the next stage, right? Is it's like it's not like build a thing, magic business value. There's then a process of like him using it, encountering problems with it, and then you guys making changes based on his feedback, right?
It's that I don't anticipate encountering a lot of problems. My main fear is that our idea of the use of the system,
Right.
the organizational practices around the use of the system, may not match what he does in his agency and may not match what we expect his employer partners to do. We expect employer partners to use the system, for instance. They may not use it at all other than look at resumes, that kind of thing. So we've assumed a lot of behavioral characteristics on the part of the user that have not been tested at all.
Yes.
And then there's, of course, the UI. Does that work? Does it flow? Is it confusing? All that basic stuff as well. So there's many layers, I guess, of uncertainty here.
Yeah, well, no, and it's like those things that you described there. That's what I mean. I mean, I don't anticipate like that. That's the critical thing. That's the critical thing about Agile is it's building something that people will use within their process and flow, and will it make sense to them, and will they know how to have it support them? And that's one of the critical things with the customer is I mean, having not spoken to Chet since the very, very beginning, I mean, he may be expecting it to just, like, having specified 50 features and having them be implemented, he may just expect it to just work. He may not be thinking, right, you know, we're going to take this, we're going to deploy it, and the first 6 months, I'm going to be needing to give all this feedback on my business process. I'm going to, when I say encounter problems, I don't mean that the thing just doesn't work. I mean that, you know, the thing that he wants to do, that the system supports, it happens to be in a different place than he would expect, and he can't find it. And so then you'd want to adjust the interface to move that to where and then he would say, yeah, actually, this thing that I thought was really important, actually, we don't need it. We need more of this one, and so on. But that's what maybe I need to be involved in a meeting with him, because that would be the question, the big question in my mind is he ready for that next period that's going to involve a cycle? You know what I mean?
Yeah. We'll queue them up, definitely. And what I've been trying to do is demo the thing, every sprint, is I've been trying to focus on, let's look at this screen and push this button. I've been trying to focus on, this is the process in which this particular function would be used.
Right.
And focus on the workflow.
Screen share, and you're pressing the buttons in front of him, and he's kind of seeing the interface turn over, right?
Yeah, but I'm emphasizing, what are we doing here? What's the context in which we're using this screen?
Oh, that's great.
And we'll queue him up that way as well when we turn it over to him.
Right.
And we probably want to go with him. We want to hold hands probably pretty closely. Maybe we meet with him every other day as he starts to use the system, so he doesn't get discouraged and throw up his hands, that he keeps using it and pushing forward. We'll have to figure that out. But
oh, well, that's very reassuring for me. That sounds great. That sounds excellent. Yes. And well, the final thing was something we did talk about was getting more detailed UX review on individual pull requests. Is that something that you think would work well at some point in your flow, or is currently surplus to requirement?
It will work well downstream. Right now, I think our UI is so disjoint and have various design metaphors going, depending upon who built that particular piece, that to take a discrete pull request and say, this is maybe some observations here, it wouldn't be useful, because again, the overall UI does not have a common design pattern or design UI metaphors that were implemented across the board. So taking one piece of it and saying this is how to optimize that wouldn't, it's optimizing a small part of it, whereas we have to look at the whole. So that's why I was happy that Laura seems to have, if I'm pronouncing her name correct, she seems to have UI skills, design skills, etc. and Sandhya is interested in UI design as well.
Right.
So maybe I can get a little sub-team going there at some point in the near future to help start looking at things.
Yeah. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. I guess. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you're still deriving some value from the previous UX review that I did. Of course, sort of half-hearted because of the email issues. I guess you'll just let me know when it's time for another bigger UX review, and I can actually get further into the system.
Absolutely. For instance, I think there's a lot of work just in the first page when you look at that, and you were pointing out that there's a lot of text here. You need some big buttons for call to action. You need to take some of the information, put it under the about link, whatever. There's just redesigning that whole thing based upon the initial 10 minutes of the review, I think would be a useful exercise.
Great.
So
okay.
There's a lot there yet to be mined.
Oh, go on. Say again.
There's a lot there yet to be extracted from the review and worked on.
Right. So, and I saw you guys pointed to Balsamic and some other tools. Yeah, I basically any images that you start generating that like a flow through the site or anything. I do need to like upgrade what we display as the kind of what's going on with MetPlus in the Adventure static site, which maybe I'll get to next week. But anyway, I'll you said the stuff already that I can probably mine. But if any new nice looking visuals appear, do send them my way.
Right. We don't have much, as I said before, and I didn't know what you were trying to achieve with that. Were you trying to achieve an end user? These are some screenshots, or you're trying to achieve maybe to show a client some design constructs to show how we go thinking about it?
Yeah, let me show you the site that we have, which I don't know if you've seen.
I have, yep.
Yeah, but so what we have is, kind of trying to present the value proposition for Agile Ventures to non-profit organizations as opposed to the individual developer. And what we have here is we've got, these different case studies of different, systems. And, like, for example, this was a mobile project that one group did to do with looking at solar capacity. And so we just happen to have the screenshots from all of the mobile, the whole app there in that case. I mean, these are, we have here the local support, which shows, the map and the directory there. And MetPlus at the moment has, this on it. And so it's kind of, I mean, it's not specific to MetPlus. I think, the template that we've used here is kind of a portfolio site where, the pop-up would be showing you the design of the individual thing. But in some ways, what we're, that's showcased by the fact that we have this overall site. What we kind of want to be showcasing in these things is the agile workflow. So it's kind of going from user stories to, components. Not that any of these yet do that, but what I'm imagining that we might be trying to move towards is something where we have, in big, bold things down the sides, user stories that then point to, and we have smaller screenshots of different parts of the interface. So you're sending me those things. So we might, rather than this kind of splash, which doesn't really promote, partly because of the issues in this website, it doesn't really promote the design. I think that the more exciting thing that's going on with MetPlus is the fact that you've got all these scenarios and that different parts of the interface have been created in correspondence to that. And so that's the kind of thing I'd like to get into this page and tell a bit more of the story of each of these projects, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. Okay. Well, maybe, like you said, some of the UI redesign, some things should pop out of that at some point.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, and I might spend some time. Cool. All right. Well, good catching up with you, Patrick. I'll maybe see you tomorrow.
Absolutely. All right. Well, feel better, and hopefully you're out of bed tomorrow.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye now.